Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. हरे कृष्णा श्री अक्षरामी इंस्ट्रक्शन की जय श्री उपदेशामृत की जय श्रील रूप गोस्वामी की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय श्री गुरु महाराज की जय हरे कृष्णा thank you all for joining. We'll continue our reading of this very beautiful scripture, the nectar of instruction, Srila Rupa Goswami's Updeshamrit, which Srila Prabhupada has translated as the nectar of instruction. And we are on verse 2. And this verse, as you all know, is talking about 6 things that are detrimental to our progress on the path of bhakti. And we have to very carefully avoid them. And that is why we are taking time and going very slowly through the various descriptions through Srila Prabhupada's paragraphs in his wonderful purports. Because if we just read through the translation and we may think that, okay, yeah, we understood what Srila Rupa Goswami is asking us to avoid. But then each of these 6 items is actually very intricate. There are many small intricacies involved which we may overlook. And to avoid that, we are proceeding with, at a slow pace so that we are able to absorb everything. And this is actually the foundation of our bhakti, and hence we should, spend time here, understand everything, because these are day-to-day things. These are things that we are doing on a daily basis. So if we overlook these items, then it becomes kind of a habit, and then later it may be difficult to change. That is why it's important that in the beginning itself, we understand everything very deeply and then proceed. So in yesterday's section, Mataji had read about Atyahara, and she was also talking about Prajalpa, the different, the way our conversations go, and Janasanga, all these things were being discussed yesterday. And we'll proceed from this paragraph today, Karmi's labor. And just one thing I wanted to mention, His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu talks about this in his description of Nectar of Instruction about, Prajalpa. And you must have heard so many different stories about ISKCON and devotees, or this happened, that controversy happened. It's quite common, especially in today's time of, where social media is so active, and everything is, everything can go viral, and there's so much happening, and this happened in this ISKCON temple, that happened in that ISKCON temple, this devotee said that devotee said that. Such things are very common, and we keep hearing these things. Now, the point that Prabhu raises in his lecture is that Krishna is like Kalpatru. Kalpatru is what? Desire tree, right? So, ISKCON is also like Kalpatru, like a desire tree. So, with Krishna, I know the way one approaches Krishna, that is what one gets. So, like Krishna says, "La, the way one approaches me, I reward them accordingly." So, if we approach Krishna with any ulterior motives, if we want wealth, if we want appreciation, all these things, Krishna gives that also. In the same way, if we come to ISKCON for, gaining wealth, then yes, there are devotees, there is fund collection happening. People will give donations. So if a person is after wealth, they will get that. If a person is after appreciation, yes, senior devotees are really appreciated. They are honored. People pay obeisances to them also. So if one is after those things, they will get that also. In the same way, if one comes to ISKCON just to find controversies, they will find that too. But that is the whole thing. Are we coming to ISKCON to find controversies, or are we coming to ISKCON to find Krishna? So that focus has to be there. Otherwise, if we are in this mood that, okay, I hear about this controversy and then I go talking about it and I find more details about it and then I talk to 10 other people about it, then that is going to really hamper our bhakti. So why I'm mentioning this is that these kind in the social media you may keep hearing things about this ISKCON devotee, that ISKCON devotee. It will all be baseless and it will all be false. But our focus should not go into that because people are there, they just need news and they really enjoy bringing others down. That is how the world functions, right? We feel better about ourselves when we put someone else down. Now because ISKCON is actually stirring the world, His Grace Amoghila Prabhu says this, that ISKCON is the one that is actually stirring the world. The crores and crores of Bhagavad Gita distribution, so lakhs and lakhs of devotees, temples all over the world, so much of preaching, so much of book distribution is going on. This is stirring the world. So definitely people will find faults in us. So we should not get perturbed by it, and we should definitely not go and dig deep and try to, talk more and more about it. If we need any clarification about something that has happened, we can ask our senior devotees, and then that is where we should rest that matter. We should not keep digging and digging and digging. That is only going to harm us. It is only going to harm our bhakti, and that is prajalpa. So Srila Rupa Goswami is advising us against these kind of things. Okay. So that's why we are saying that prajalpa can come in many different ways. Prajalpa can come in our devotee community also. So, we have to be very careful to avoid it. Now let's read from this paragraph. Karmis labor to accumulate more and more money. Would someone like to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Karmis labor to accumulate more and more money for future generations only because they do not know their future position. Interested only in getting more and more money for their sons and grandsons, such foolish persons do not even know what their position is going to be in the next life. There are many incidents that illustrate this point. Once a great Karmi accumulated a vast fortune of his sons for his sons and grandsons, but later, according to his karma, he took his birth in a cobbler's house located near the building which in his previous life he had constructed for his children. It so happened that when this very cobbler came to his former house, his former sons and grandsons beat him with shoes. Unless the karmis and gnanis become interested in Krishna consciousness, they will simply continue to waste their life in fruitless activities.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare Krishna
Mataji. So
Mataji.
let's discuss this and then we'll go to Niyamagraha. That's the next principle. So here, Prabhupada is telling us or warning us against useless labor. So useless labor, that is excessive endeavor, more than what is needed. This is Atyahar and Prayas are, linked in this way. Because the problem is that in today's world, people feel an emptiness, and the more one goes away from one's true nature, the more this emptiness increases. So they try to fill this void, they try to fill this vacuum, this emptiness by different means. So for some, they may find comfort in food, so they may eat excessively, or for some it may come in the form of the greed for money. Some may just want a lot of intellectual, achievements, so they go after degrees and another and another. So, some may just want data, some may want to accumulate materialistic possessions. So in this way, they look for, this to complete their void in different places. But all this is just a misdirection of the original pure longing of the soul for Krishna. The emptiness is being felt because the soul is away from Krishna, and that void can only be filled, that emptiness can only be filled with Krishna prem. Nothing else will have that lasting, satisfying effect. That is why we see when devotees come into Krishna consciousness, they are happy with very basic things. See, if we see the sannyasis in our movement, if we see the brahmacharis, they are wearing the same color of clothes every day. There is no change in their dress, there is no change in their hairstyle. they are satisfied with these things, They have no desire to dress lavishly, desire to travel here and there, eat this and that. Otherwise, also, Grihasthas also, the life becomes very simple. Why? Because we are not looking for satisfaction in materialistic things anymore. Because one tends to, one starts understanding that my real wealth, my real happiness rests at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So here Prabhupada in this very wonderful purport is teaching us that we have to give up atyahar. And how do we give up atyahar? We should endeavor for the absolute truth. So instead of endeavoring for materialistic things, we have to move our efforts to get Krishna. And the stronger our desire for Krishna will become, the weaker all other desires will become. You know, it's not like, we have to artificially give up these things. No, it happens automatically in bhakti. So we should, not artificially try to give up atyahar independent of our effort to intensify our Krishna consciousness. Because if we are not trying to intensify our Krishna consciousness and we are trying to give up atyahara, we'll really struggle badly because we are not giving ourselves any fulfillment, and we are taking away things that were really, we were really finding it attractive. So we have to intensify our bhakti, and then giving up atyahar will happen as a byproduct. Okay. So, Prabhu says that if we say yes to Krishna, then saying no to Maya becomes easy. And it already happens. If we are, if we have something better to focus on in our life, then the smaller, the inferior attractions become, they fade away in our life. So we should definitely give ourselves something better to focus on. That is why we are told that, we should fill our day with Krishna consciousness activities like all of you are doing. And then we should be in the association of devotees, ISKCON temples, ISKCON centers. There is so much of activity happening. We have such beautiful aartis, we have deity dressing, decoration, garland making, so many festivals. So, in this way, when we are giving our mind something very wonderful, to take and to be happy with, then to give up the other smaller things becomes easier. Otherwise, it's very difficult. So, it's not that devotees don't have any ambitions. It's not that devotees don't try to get good degrees, or they don't try to get good jobs, or they don't want to earn well or learn well or acquire knowledge. It's not that. See, when we are in our society, we see there are such scholarly devotees also, and there are many devotees who are materialistically also doing very well. Big businessmen also become devotees. So it's not that, having these kind of ambitions is wrong, but we need, if someone has the drive for these things, they can do that. But they spiritualize every activity. They're not after the materialistic thing just to get some, materialistic pleasure out of it. No, they spiritualize everything by, directly using their talents in Krishna's service, or by using the fruits of their labor in Krishna's service, in Krishna's glorification. Like so many scholarly devotees, they are using their intellectual frame of mind to teach people Krishna consciousness in such wonderful ways. When we hear their lecture, like Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, he's called the spiritual scientist. Hear one of his lectures, and he will bring out such unique points, which we may be thinking that, oh, yeah, this makes so much sense. Why didn't I think of this earlier? Or, such unique interpretations of things. Or some devotees may use their humorous side to make their lectures very, very interesting. So, in this way, they are using their talents in Krishna's service. And then there are other great devotees who are using their wealth in Krishna's service. So, in this way, everything is dovetailed in the Lord's service. And then that is not atyahara. So it has to be understood that, we're not saying that devotees are just, dull people who have no ambition, or though they don't do well in their life. It's not like that. But the whole focus is different. It's not our sense gratification, but it's Krishna's happiness. Okay. So, whatever we do in our life, whatever urges we have, it should not take us away from Krishna. So, it may vary from person to person. We cannot say that, this one particular thing is bad for everyone and this one particular thing is good for everyone. Everyone is different. We are all very very unique in our thinking, in our lives. Some person may be able to take some kind of effort and not get attached to it, or some person may get some materialistic achievement, and they may stay detached and still continue in their sadhana. But for some, that materialistic achievement may take them away from Krishna. So we have to be very intelligent here, and we have to understand that what is it in my life that is attracting me so much that it's taking me away from Krishna. Those are the things that we need to pull out of our life. Okay, so like example of Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatan Goswami. They were great scholars. They were very learned. They knew many languages. They were ministers in Nawab Hussain Shah's kingdom. They were very rich, but they were Kshatriyas. So it was, they were custodians of wealth. That was their work. They were collecting money, but they were also spending that money in charity. And they were using all their possessions in Krishna's seva. So in Ramkeli, where they were staying, they had built this beautiful, Vrindavan like forest there. And we know that they were not attached to it. When time came to give it up, they gave up everything. And then they were staying in Vrindavan as sadhus and as mendicants, just doing, a madhukari. So they were very successful, but they were not attached to it. So we have to understand that just because someone is successful in their life, we cannot say that they are into atyahar. No, a devotee may be very successful, but they may not be attached to that success, to that money. So atyahar will be different. It will be different between devotees, and atyahar will be different in different ashramas also. For brahmanas, for kshatriyas, vaishyas, shudras, it can be different. Okay, so we cannot just generalize it and say that just because someone is working very hard in their life, they are not devotees. No, they may be working hard, yes, they may do very well in their education and then use their education for Krishna's service. So we cannot generalize, and definitely we cannot become judgmental about devotees. So this is Atyahar. Now, to do atyahar, that brings us to prayas, to consume more and more of anything, that will require some effort to accumulate those things also, right? So that is how atyahar and prayas is linked. Now, taking the same example of Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatan Goswami, they had so much talent that Nawab Hussain Shah gave them a lot of wealth and such high positions. But at the same time, they were discharging their devotional duties also. So it's not like their work consumed so much of their time that no time was left for bhakti. In Vedic times, if we see, there are so many kings who were so rich, they had such opulent kingdoms. But that was not Atyahara, because that did not, for them, it did not require that much prayas to get that, to achieve that. They were doing bhakti, and at the same time, they were running their successful kingdoms also. They were running their kingdoms very well also. So that is not prayas. Prayas is excessive effort. For example, when we want to build a lifestyle for ourselves, and then for that we need a particular level of income, and to get that income, now I need to work so much, I need to work that so much harder, so many number of hours, that it's taking away time from my bhakti. That is what is classified as prayas. So there are different devotees who may have different level of positions. They may be in different positions, then they may have different possessions also. But if they can maintain that without letting that maintenance of those things cause them so much anxiety that they completely are disrupted in their daily activities, then that is not atyahar. So if a devotee is there and they have a good house, they are running a good household, but this they are able to do without any extra, extra endeavor, too much endeavor. That is, then it is okay. Then they are able to, with their talent, they are able to earn well and do well, and at the same time give time to their chanting, give time to reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Then that is not prayas. Prayas, we can know if we are over endeavoring by the level of anxiety we have. There is some anxiety we all have, but there is some anxiety which is manageable, and there is some anxiety which becomes unmanageable. When we are leading our life, when we are leading our careers or our households in such a way that we are in unmanageable anxiety, then we should know that there is something wrong in the way we are doing things. Then that is an indication that we are doing prayas, that is over endeavor. So here in this verse, prayas is used in a negative connotation because it is over endeavor. Prayas in general, this word it means endeavor. So the word itself doesn't is not negative, but over endeavor is negative. Okay, because that distracts us from the path of bhakti. So it's not like we don't have to do any effort in our life. We are devotees now. We are in ISKCON, so we should go in a very inert stage. There is, whatever comes to me, I'll just accept it. I'm not going to take any efforts in my life. No, it's not like that. We have to study well, we have to do our work properly, we have to run our households nicely. But to what extent are we putting ourselves in anxiety? That will tell me. Now, for example, if I'm living in a comfortable house, but I want to move to a very big bungalow because that is the kind of society, the status symbol that I want to have, then that will mean that I'll have to work more hours, and that may bring a lot of unmanageable anxiety for me. And then I start, neglecting my rounds, or I'm so tired that I'm not able to do anything other than my work. That's the problem. Okay, so this manageable anxiety and this unmanageable anxiety, that will tell us, are we doing over endeavor or not? Okay. Because in our life, we have our material responsibilities, but we also have very important responsibility, and that is towards our spiritual life. So, if our material activities are taking so much time that we are not left with any energy for our spiritual life, then that is over endeavor, and that is what is condemned here. But the problem is that in these days, society is so imbalanced that, let alone the balance between our spiritual and material life, people don't have balance in their material life also. So, no, because material life means what? Your work, your family, your health. But people are taking such jobs which have such long working hours that, one fragment of their material lives is consuming everything. That is why this term workaholics is there, right? Because people are getting that their sense of self from their work. And this commitment to work is sadly very glamorized these days in the world today. That, oh, he works such long hours, oh, he got this promotion, that promotion. Now he's totally focused on his career. And, this kind of things, this materialistic success. And that also in your work life, that consumes so much of people's time that there is no balance in the materialized life itself, no time for family, no time for health. So it is so sad that this first level itself is imbalanced. So how are these people going to integrate spirituality into their lives? That is why devotees are advised to take up such jobs which will, yes, give them enough income that they are able to maintain their families. That is also important, but that will also give them time for spiritual activities. And we should try to form our daily schedule, our weekly schedule, and our life schedule in such a way that our preference is towards Krishna. This is the most important relationship. That is the relationship we have with Krishna. If that is imbalanced, if that is distorted, then we'll not find peace anywhere. No amount of money, big house, wealth, jewelry, or big cars is going to give us that satisfaction. So that balance has to be achieved. But that balance, there is no one formula that I can give a formula, through which we split our time and then, everything is balanced in our lives. Because it's a very dynamic thing. You think of your schedules also. Does it happen that all 7 days in the week are the same? We may have, yes, there may be a set pattern that we follow, but then, there are things that come out of place, right? Someone in the family falls ill, or we fall ill, or something happens in work, something happens in the family that needs attention. So we have to, some then in such a case, we have to take time from one activity and give it to the other, because family commitments are also important. But then there should also be times when we take time away from everything and give it to our spiritual life. For example, devotees going on yatras, or we can have like our Sunday feast. Okay, Sunday is a day when I have to go to the temple. From this time to this time I will be there. Or like you are taking time out to attend the classes. So that is our focus time given to Krishna. But based on time, place, and circumstances, sometimes these things go up and down. And then, we may have to change our schedules a bit. But the overall, most important thing is that a devotee prioritizes spiritual life, because the most important relationship is that with Krishna. And all other relationships are valuable to the extent that they are contributing to our relationship with Krishna. That, okay, Krishna has given me this wonderful family, so I serve my family. And that is, helping me appreciate Krishna's mercy so much. So, in this way, we have to see that how everything needs to be aligned so that our most important relationship with Krishna is not hampered. So, other aspects of our life have to be harmonized, to go with our spiritual aspects. And this may change at different stages in our life. For example, a student, they have to align their day differently. And if one is working in Grihastha life, then they can give more time and they can have more flexibility in their spiritual lives. And then when one reaches Vanaprastha stage, then we can really pull ourselves away from all other things. The sad thing is that even sometimes when we are, aging and we are reaching that vanaprastha age, some people still want to be glued to family life more, in fact, because okay, now I have maybe retired, so I have more time, so my family should give me so much more time. I just want to be with them, I want to talk to them, I want to go on trips with them. Why aren't they spending time with me? And these things where we are reaching a stage where actually our responsibilities in life are over, we can give more time to Krishna consciousness. But then many people don't take up to Krishna consciousness even then. That is so sad, where everything, in life is set. All you have to do is take up your beat bag and you can sit and do even 64 rounds. But they don't even chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra even once, wasting time on newspapers, television, and useless gossip. So, all these things, we see everything, it's all so linked. And it is all taking us to, understanding that where is the focus in our life. Okay. So, this whole concept of prayas, we have to understand that we cannot have an imbalanced life, because if our life is imbalanced, then that causes frustration. And that's why so many people these days are going towards addictions. It has increased so much over time, isn't it? The amount of alcoholism or cigarette smoking or prostitution, all these things, the pub culture. Why do people need a release? Because their lives are totally imbalanced. So everything, we have to go and see what is the root of the problem. If we are able to balance our material life and then balance our material and spiritual lives, then all these negative things will go away from our life. Now, how do we know that are we giving enough time to our spiritual pursuits? Because that is a very subjective thing again, right? Some devotees may be able to give all their life. They are brahmacharis, they are given everything. They are sannyasis. But as grihastas, We have our responsibilities, so we cannot just leave home. So, how do we know that in my position, am I giving enough effort to my spiritual pursuits? That we can do by comparing our efforts in materialistic endeavors. So, for example, if I have given so much of effort to acquire a degree, so I used to study so much, or I used to live alone in a hostel and study for so many number of hours, so am I now giving that much effort to my Krishna consciousness? Am I that alert for my Krishna consciousness? So this will tell me that am I really giving my best to my spiritual life or not? Okay. And all these things now when we are reading and when we are advised to follow our sadhana, Prabhupada's wonderful program of chanting 16 rounds, reading his books, arti and association, all these things. Yes, it is difficult. Okay, nobody is saying that it is very easy. Yeah, maybe for some devotees, they are so well practiced that they find it easy now. But we know that in the initial stages, chanting is difficult, sitting, concentrating is very difficult, taking time out from other things, reading books, attending classes. It is a strenuous effort. But this is like us doing exercise in the gym. When a person is doing exercise in the gym, that time in the gym is not really very pleasurable, at least in the initial stages, because we are pushing our body, there is pain, and then there is sweating and there is effort. But through that exercise, what happens? We build strength. And then, if someone has to lift a very heavy object, also, they're able to do that. Their fitness level increases. So, then that effort put in the gym is giving them benefit outside the gym. In the same way, our sadhana, even if we are not finding it very pleasurable at this moment, it is this sadhana which is helping us build the spiritual strength. So the process is tough, but that makes us strong. Sadhana is the exercise, and that makes us well built internally. And then, when we are putting effort here, then we'll be able to function better in our lives. We'll become more effective in our life. That is why you'll see devotees are better at their work as compared to others. Devotees are better at their relationships as compared to others. Why? Because they have done this exercise. So their effectiveness actually increases. So if someone says that, oh, you're talking about prayas and atyahar and all these things, then you will just become very dull. You'll be left behind in life. No, that's not true. Devotees are actually doing the best exercise, the best thing that anyone can do, and that is actually making them much better persons. They're making them much better professionals because the whole expectation from others, expectation from life, expectation from my work life, from family. Devotees are able to reduce these things because they're getting all the pleasure from Krishna. So the main problem of all tension is expectations, right? So when we are able to reduce expectations, we are satisfied in life, we are calm and peaceful, then we are definitely becoming better. So the whole idea about reducing our material efforts is so that we are able to give more effort to Krishna. Okay, so this is about atyahar and prayas, how these things can be harmful, and then how we need to really manage these things so that it doesn't hamper our spiritual life. Now let's read the next paragraph. This is about niyamagraha. So would someone like to read accepting from this?
I read Mataji.
Yeah, Mataji. Okay, you can read, Mataji.
Accepting
But
some of the spiritual rules and regulations for immediate benefit as as uh,
utilitarians.
utilitarians advocate is called Niyama Agraha, and neglecting the rules and regulations for the Shastras, which are meant for spiritual development, is called Niyama Agraha. Niyama Agraha. The word Agraha means eagerness to accept, and Agraha means failure to accept. By the addition of either of these two words to the word Niyama, rules and regulations, the word Niyamagraha is formed. Thus, Niyamagraha as a twofold meaning that is understood according to the particular combination of words. Those interested in Krishna consciousness should not be eager to accept rules and regulations for economic advancement, yet they should very faithfully accept spiritual rules and regulations for the advancement of Krishna consciousness. They should strictly follow the regulative principles by avoiding illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Continue,
Krishna. Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji.
You can.
Mataji, other devotees have raised their hands, so probably they can read. Chandradekha
Okay.
Mataji. Mataji, you can read the next para, please. Sorry, I didn't see the hands raised earlier. Yeah, Mataji, please read.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna. Um, I have to start from once a great, isn't it?
No,
Sorry,
one should also
one.
avoid one.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare
One
Krishna.
should also avoid association with Mayavadis who simply blaspheme Vaishnavas, devotees, Bhakti, Bhukti Kamis, who are interested in my material happiness, Kamas, who desire liberation by merging into the existence of the formless absolute Brahman, and Siddhikamis, who desire the perfection of mystic yoga practice, are classified as Atyaharis. To associate with such persons is not at all desirable.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, so let's discuss.
Mataji, you're mute, Mataji.
Sorry, Hare Krishna. Yeah, so let's discuss these two paragraphs. So the next principle
Mataji,
is
one minute, Mataji. Over here,
yes, yes.
agra is given two meanings, no?
Yeah, Mataji. So
Agra.
this word has two meanings: niyam agraha and niyam agraha.
Okay.
Both are actually wrong. So
Because the
we'll
word agra means eagerness to accept, and agra means failure to accept. The spellings is also same.
yeah,
How
Mataji.
is
It's
that?
just that is it agraha or agraha? So bada a and
Bara is
it's
both they have bara a, no? With a dash,
no,
dash on
Mataji.
top of the a.
No, it's niyam. See here, it's niyam agraha or niyam agraha. It can be used in two ways.
Okay.
Okay, there are two meanings. So we'll just
Yeah. Okay. I
try
got it.
to understand. So both are wrong, niyam agraha and niyam agraha. So niyam agraha means neglecting the rules and regulations of the shastras, which are meant for spiritual development. That is niyam agraha. And niyam agraha means accepting some of the rules and regulations for immediate benefit as utilitarians advocate, and that is niyam agraha. Okay, so either just accepting them for the sake of accepting or just totally rejecting. So these both have to be avoided. So Prabhupada is explaining here that this word niyamagraha has a twofold meaning that is understood according to the particular combination of words. And those interested in Krishna consciousness should not be eager to accept rules and regulations for economic advancement, yet they should very faithfully accept scriptural rules and regulations for the advancement of Krishna consciousness. Now, here we have to pause for a moment and understand this concept of rules. Okay, because here we are told that either even neglecting of rules or just following them for the sake of it, both are wrong. Okay, now sometimes what happens is that people are unable to understand the difference between rules and principles. So there are rules and then there are principles. Rules are very important because rules are the best way to follow the principles. But we have to understand that all rules, all regulations are actually subordinate to the principle. The main principle of the Shastras is that we should always remember Krishna and we should never forget Krishna. So, this is the principle that we have to always think of Krishna. So Prabhupada gave us a rule that we should chant 16 rounds audibly. Okay, now, for example, a devotee is unwell they have some major throat infection or some for some other reason, they are not able to speak. So then can we say that they are just totally not following the rule? No, in this case, with the with the guidance of seniors, they can chant softly, or in some cases they can chant in the mind also after consulting with seniors. So here what happens, one can, if one is just a stickler for rules, or if they are very very inflexible and rigid, then they may say the rule, you're not following the rule, you're not chanting 16 rounds audibly, so they may condemn such a devotee. But no, what is the principle behind this rule is that we should always remember Krishna. Okay, so here in this way, rule and principle both are important, but we have to know that the principle is always more important. Another example is Prabhupada in the West. He built so many temples, and there were several temples that were built in storefronts. Now in India, there are many rules for building temples. That there should be a shikhar, the temple should be facing in a particular direction. There should be a bell, and then the deities should be facing in the east direction. There are many such rules, but it was not possible to follow these rules in many of the Western temples. So Prabhupada, what was the principle behind the temple? That the glorification of Lord should happen. So he kept that principle in mind and he adjusted the rules accordingly. So even a temple in a storefront was as glorious as any other temple which has a shikhar. In fact, in India also, in one of the temples, I think in Delhi, one temple, the te- the deities were facing in a direction which, as per Vastu, some Vastu Shastri said it's not right. That you should open your temple in a different direction because the deities should face this direction. And then His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj said that if we open our temple in that direction, then our temple will be opening in a very small lane, so many people might miss that temple. So let's open the temple on the main road so that most of the people are able to come. It becomes accessible to more people. And then that temple is flourishing like anything. So it's one rule that was bent because the principle of propagating Krishna consciousness was more important. Bhishma Pitama, he was lying on a bed of arrows. So when many sages came, the principle, is giving respect. But what is the rule? That one should get up and offer respects. But Bhishma Pitama was not able to do that. So he offered respects to them in his mind. So he followed the principle, but he did not follow the rule. So the great devotees, the acharyas, they know how to adjust the rules as per time, as per circumstance. Okay, now if someone becomes, so stuck up for rules, then this, niyamagraha can be very detrimental to our bhakti, because the problem is that we may start getting judgmental towards others. That, oh, you are not doing this, you're not following this rule, that means you're not a devotee. Then we may end up blaspheming them, and then what happens? Our bhakti goes down. So how do devotees do niyamagraha? They do that by following rules without understanding the spirit behind it, without understanding the time, place, circumstance, just imposing rules on someone. See, because there are some things which are a matter of preference, and then there are some things which are a matter of principle. Like, for example, some devotees, when they are reading Srila Prabhupada's books, they like to underline. Now, some may say that, oh, how can you underline? Bhagavatam is like Krishna. How can you put lines? Some devotees may say that I'm not putting lines, but I'm decorating the deity. If the Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam is like a deity, so my underlining something for, my better understanding or for better preaching, it is a good in a way, because that's like decoration of the deity. Now here, we cannot say who is right, who's wrong, but this is a matter of preference and has to be left at it. We cannot say that, oh, this is a matter of principle, this is an absolute thing. You have to do this. Some things have to be left out. Okay, we cannot impose rules on everything. Just because I think something is right, I will impose that on others. If we start doing that, then problems come up. Now, ISKCON has very good standards for deity worship, which are followed everywhere very nicely. But if one devotee from one temple comes and sees some small minor differences, and then we start judging that temple management, that is a problem. See, we have to understand that every tradition has a central core, and then there is a periphery around it. The core should always remain unchanged, but the periphery has to change. Prabhupada, if we see, he was such an expert, just like his Guru Maharaj. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, at that time when sannyasis would not travel in cars and they would never wear Western clothes, he would travel in cars and he would also wear Western clothes when he would go for meetings with Britishers and other such officials. Because if he went in his sannyas attire, then people would not take him seriously because at that time there were many upasampradayas also. So we have to remember what was that time. So he had to dress himself in a specific way so that people would take his movement seriously. Okay, so he did that, he adjusted that rule. But Prabhupada, when he went to the West, if he started wearing Western clothes at that time, then he would gel with everyone. He wore his sannyas attire at that time, never changed that because then in his sannyas attire, he stood out. The hippies saw that this person is different. They got attracted to him. So we see both of them, Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj and Prabhupada. Can we say that one was following the rules, one was not following the rules? Who is right, who is wrong? They are both right and they are both perfect because whatever they did in their particular time was perfect for spreading Krishna consciousness. Okay. So, like for example, the preaching that goes on these days, if we see Bhagavad Gita doesn't specifically talk about anything where about existence of God, right? Because that at that time culturally, God was existing, everyone was believing that. So Bhagavad Gita delved into further topics. But now when devotees are doing Bhagavad Gita courses, they start with, does God exist? Because people need to be first convinced that God exists, then they will start accepting God's words in the form of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So here we see that how different things, different principles, different rules have been changed over time, modified slightly. This is just the periphery. The core principle of Krishna consciousness has not changed. What Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur taught, Srila Prabhupada taught, and that is what is being taught even by our current preachers. But the periphery has changed. The way speakers are speaking, the way they are interacting with everyone, that has changed. And it had to change so that people became more relatable to everyone. Right. So that here, this fanaticism has to be removed because that can ruin our Krishna consciousness for ourselves and for others. Like, for example, we should offer obeisances when we see seniors. But in some countries, they had a history of slavery where the slaves would bow down to their masters. So, in such countries, if ISKCON devotees openly offer obeisances, then it will give a very negative impression, very negative perception to society. So their devotees change that. Sannyasis in ISKCON, when they are preaching in some countries, even now they dress differently because in those countries they will not allow sannyasis to come. So, are they not following the principles? No, they are following the principles. They are understanding the spirit behind everything, and then they are following it. See, the other thing is rejecting all rules. So, one extreme is where you're just becoming a fanatic and following the rules without understanding the spirit, and the other type of niyamagra is where we totally reject everything. Just because it's too difficult for me or I don't understand the reason behind it, I'll just reject this rule. So, for example, someone saying that why do we need to wear devotee clothes? Why do we need to dress up in a particular way when we are going to the temple? Because devotion is a matter of the heart. So, why do I need to dress up in a particular way? Yes, devotion is a matter of a heart, but our externals affect our internals. So, certain dresses will encourage certain consciousness. When we dress up in a sari, in a gopi dress, we put nice tilak and we have our bead bag. The whole feeling is different. or when Prabhus are in dhoti kurta, nicely dressed as devotees, the whole atmosphere changes. The way we look at ourselves, the way we start feeling, everything changes. And then in that devotee attire, when we enter a temple, we'll feel, that we really belong to this place. And it's a very positive effect on us as well as on others who look at us. So, when we are in that devotee attire, our consciousness changes. And that is very favorable to our bhakti. That is why we should not reject these rules, because the rules are the best way to follow the principles. Why do we have traffic rules? Why do we have, fire hazard rules? That is for our protection, right? In the same way, in our devotional life also, we have these rules that we have to follow, like our chanting, and then these are the do's, and then reading Srila Prabhupada's books, and then those rules where we have to avoid illicit sex, avoid meat eating, gambling, intoxication. Why do we need to follow these rules? Because they're going to keep us safe in our bhakti. They're going to protect us from the distractions of the material world, which can really hamper our progress on the path of bhakti. So we have to understand that the rules, principles, they are very, very important. But we don't have to become fanatics. If there are some situations where some rules might need some adjustment, then with a consultation with seniors, that is possible. It is possible to do that. And on the other hand, we should not just reject rules because I'm not able to understand the logic behind something, and or something is too difficult for me. Both are harmful. So niyamagraha, both have to be avoided. And then in the last para that we read for today, this association with Mayavadis, that has to be avoided because they are blaspheming Vaishnavas. Whatever we hear, the kind of company we keep, it really changes us. We may not realize because the effect is not overnight, but over a period of time, it affects our consciousness. So our association with those who are just looking for materialistic happiness, or those who are desiring, to merge in the existence of the Brahman, or those who are desiring siddhis, if our association is with these kind of people, then we will also start developing those kind of desires. And then all these three things, the desire for materialistic happiness, or the desire for a Brahman realization, or merging into Brahman, or this desire for getting siddhis, all these are very, very detrimental to our progress from bhakti, because our sole focus should be serving Krishna's happiness, getting closer to Krishna. And all these three things take us away from Krishna. So our association with these kind of people has to be avoided. Otherwise, it greatly hampers our progress on the path of bhakti. So today, just to summarize, we discussed the link between atyahara and prayas, how we have to keep Krishna as a center of our lives. Everything has to be woven around that. And then we understood how totally rejecting rules is also bad, and just fanatically following some rule is also bad, and what kind of association we need to avoid. So that is what we discussed today. We'll stop here. If there are any questions, any comments, then we can take that. Any realizations, anything you would like to add? No?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Mataji,
Yes, Prabhu.
you have told about the management of our life living and working. So that is so beautiful. You have explained. So how we have to manage and how we have to focus on Krishna conscious, how much time we have to spend. This is timetable. That is to be how we can plan in our life. So that is the great thing to, especially for me. So what I have adapted, so it helps me a lot. So in the same manner, I myself is planning. Of course, I am now I am in working. I am hearing the class. I am verifying the accounts also. So thing is, my mind is always in Krishna consciousness. So when I am not glorifying myself, the plan is, if we plan that properly, definitely our life will also become successful. So what
Yes,
your kind expressed today, that is a very, very nearest and near to our heart, to people, you, where we are in Krishna. Of course, we are not the, I am not initiated on all those things. Thing is,
No, Prabhu, actually, I feel very inspired when I see you all because I also see a lot of people who do have a lot of time and these classes are accessible to everyone, but they are not attending. So when I see you all, many of you are attending morning classes, afternoon, evening classes. It is so inspiring and a great learning for me also that this is how we need to use our time, really. Yeah.
thing is, Mataji, determination and enthusiasm, it is to be maintained. Then only if we have got enthusiasm to commit to do things, this thing, by hook or crook, I have to do it. That enthusiasm and commitment that really helps us to be in Krishna consciousness. Mataji, I came to Krishna consciousness, particularly after reading the Bhagavad Gita. Yam yam vyapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tame vaiti kaunteya. So, my only goal is to be always uh, chanting to in Krishna consciousness. So, Krishna consciousness, to do that, it is helping us. So, nothing doing, everything is, of course, even though I am 70, I am working. And please, just I am not working too more load on me to do that thing.
Yeah, exactly, Prabhu. Yes.
If it is too burden, I will leave it off. And then if it is disturbed for Krishna consciousness, definitely I will leave that one.
True.
So particularly that sloka. So
Yeah.
it is better to me. Krishna
Very good.
consciousness, only thing we can be in Krishna consciousness still, even at the time of death. That is the only
Yes.
determination.
Yeah.
Only. So that helps me. So I am grateful to you, preachers. You are making me in that consciousness forever and ever. So I am grateful to you, Mataji. Thank you. Please, if they till our last blessing, we must be in Krishna consciousness, in Krishna, Krishna. That is the only goal. So that to attain that, you are giving so many these lectures and then feedbacks. So these were all helping us. So I am grateful to you. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Let the Supreme
Thank
Lord
you.
be always bless you all. So thank you, Mataji.
Haribol, I am very grateful to all of you devotees for keeping me inspired and keeping me on my toes. So thank you all.
Now
And
these
thanks.
classes have become our priority, Mataji. Every day
Yeah,
we look forward to
that's
this.
what I said, Mataji. You have made this a priority, and that is incredible.
Yeah.
That is what really, I mean, I every single day I think of all of you, and I feel very, very grateful that I have your association because you are teaching me that how we need to actually spend our day. Really, I am learning so much from all of you. So thank you so much.
Bhagavatam class, Mataji, we attend in the morning. Again at
Yeah.
night also, evening classes, we attend to get a better understanding. Somewhere we must have missed classes, no? So even jaldi khana bana ke we come running sharp 8 o'clock.
The best way to lead our lives, best
Yeah.
use of become more and more absorbed in our
Yes,
sadhana.
Mataji.
Sometimes I even forget that today is Monday or Tuesday, and then I'll just switch on,
Yeah.
and then I'll realize,
Oh,
uh,
Haribo.
then
Yeah.
I'll come out of it. So
And
that's
that
Srila
it's
happened
Prabhu.
to
like that, morning 5:30 to 6:30, Nityam Bhagavatam.
Why can't it be full day, Mataji? Monday to Wednesday and all, you're not doing, Mataji. Then only can be covered easily, Mataji.
Yeah, Mataji, this was the format that was followed Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we were able to get speakers for 3 days. So this from Chaitanya Charitamrita time, this was followed. Bhagavatam is daily. Bhagavatam is a daily
at least we
thing.
Srimad
finished the
Bhagavatam.
Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mataji. Like 5 days a week we did, and then we finished the whole thing. No? That
Yeah,
went very
Mataji,
well.
yeah. So different classes, different timings makes it more
Yeah,
interesting also.
no problem. Sometimes we get
For,
time to revise
for
also.
the
Just to
Yeah,
for
read.
the
we need
sake of
time to.
others,
Hmm.
Yeah.
sorry, for the sake of others, I would like to inform we have even 5:15 to 6:15, same this group only, Srimad Bhagavatam English reading we have.
Yeah, we know it. Yeah.
So that also you people, if you are all free, can get into it.
No, Mata, that's too much for us. We have other things to do.
Others may want to join. Yeah. Whenever
Right.
possible, we can join.
No,
Because
just
I want to
inform
read.
me.
I want to read Chaitanya Charitamrita once again for better
Mhm.
understanding. That's why
Same
now
here,
that
Mataji.
we've heard
Even I
all
want to read.
Yeah, let's see, Mataji. Maybe after we complete Nectar of Devotion, we'll go back to CC. Let's see.
Yeah,
Let's
because
see,
from
Mataji.
once when you do, you can't understand that much.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
We
a
have to
revision.
keep reading again and again. That's
Yes,
very
yes.
true. Very true, Mataji. Very, very true. So
I
let's see.
enjoy
Krishna
Chaitanya
will.
Charitamrita. Yeah, I really enjoy.
Yeah, Krishna
Right,
will.
Chaitanya
We'll go
Mahaprabhu.
back to
Yeah,
it. Yeah, Mataji. Let's pray for that. That our
yeah.
interest remains and we are all together and then we keep coming back to it. So
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you all for inspiring me so much. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
also, Mataji, for all. You all also
Mataji.
taking so much time.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha,
कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत
Vaishnav
कोटि
ki jai,
वैष्णविंद की जय,
वैष्णविंद
श्रील
की जय,
प्रभुपाद
शिल
की
प्रभुपाद
जय,
की जय,
डेट
ki
ऑफ
jai, Shri
इंस्ट्रक्शन की
राम
जय,
जय।
रूप गोस्वामी की जय।
jai.
Thank you,
Thank you all.
Mataji.
See you
Hare
next
Krishna.
week.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna, Mataji.
everyone.